They said the gift suited her better, and when I asked why, my stepfather's fist connected with my shoulder hard enough to make the entire birthday dinner freeze. The restaurant's security cameras caught everything, but that footage wasn't the only ammunition I had. They thought I'd stay silent like always, swallow my pride and let them walk all over me again. This time, I decided to let the American legal system speak for me instead, and when it did, it would be loud enough to shatter their perfect family facade in front of everyone who mattered. My name is Lauren Pierce, and until that night at the Rockridge Bistro in Boulder, I thought I understood the rules of my dysfunctional family. Keep quiet, don't make waves, and maybe they'd throw me scraps of respect. That delusion shattered along with my birthday celebration. The restaurant buzzed with warmth that April evening. Our reserved section near the back hosted what should have been a dual celebration my 29th birthday and my promotion to operations manager at North Spur Logistics. Mom had insisted on making it a family affair, which meant Rick, my stepfather, presiding over the head of the table like some budget monarchy, and Madison, his 22-year-old princess, holding court at his right hand. "Lauren, sweetheart." Mom pushed a small velvet box across the white tablecloth, her practiced smile never quite reaching her eyes. "This is from all of us. Something special for your big day." My fingers trembled slightly as I lifted the lid. Inside lay a delicate gold chain with a small diamond pendant, pretty, sure, but nothing like what I expected, because 3 tables away, catching the restaurant's amber lighting, my grandmother's vintage diamond ring sparkled on Madison's neck, the same ring Grandma Helen had pressed into my 16-year-old hands before the cancer took her. The ring she'd worn through 50 years of marriage. The ring explicitly left to me in her handwritten will. "That's not—" I looked up, my voice catching. "Mom, that's not Grandma's ring. Why is Madison wearing Grandma's ring?" The table went silent. Forks paused midair. Even the server approaching with our drinks seemed to sense the shift and retreated. Rick's face darkened, that familiar storm gathering behind his gray eyes. "Don't start this here, Lauren." "Start what?" I kept my voice level, though my heart hammered. "I'm asking a simple question. That ring on Madison's neck that's my inheritance. The will specifically. We're family." Mom interjected quickly, her hand reaching for mine. "We share things in this family." "Share?" I pulled back, disbelief crystallizing into anger. "You gave away my dead grandmother's ring, the one thing she left specifically to me." Madison touched the ring, her lips curving into that practiced innocent smile. "Mom said it would look better on someone who actually goes to social events. You're always buried in spreadsheets anyway." "Besides," Rick's voice carried that edge I knew too well. "It's wasted sitting in a box. Madison's engagement party is next month. She needs something classic. It's not yours to give." I stood, the chair scraping against hardwood. "That's theft. You literally stole from me." What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. Rick shot up, his 6'3" frame towering over me, his hand clamped around my wrist, yanking me toward him. "You ungrateful little—" His other fist drove into my shoulder, spinning me into the table's edge. Glasses toppled. Water splashed across the white tablecloth, mixing with the wine from overturned glasses. "Rick." Someone screamed, maybe Mom, maybe a stranger. My hip connected with the table corner, sending sharp pain through my side. I caught myself on a chair, my shoulder throbbing where his fist had landed. Through the chaos, I noticed the server rushing over, the manager emerging from the kitchen, other diners pulling out phones. "Sir, I need you to step back." The manager, a young guy with an authoritative voice, positioned himself between us. Rick straightened his collar, that politician's smile sliding back into place. "Family disagreement. We're fine." "We're not fine." My voice came out steadier than expected. I cradled my shoulder, already feeling the deep ache that promised bruising. "And this isn't over." As the manager ushered Rick back, as Mom fussed and Madison played victim, my eyes found the security camera mounted in the corner, its red light blinking steadily. The same type of commercial-grade system we used at Northspur. High definition, audio capable, cloud storage. They'd given me exactly what I needed evidence, but that was just the beginning. The pattern started when Mom married Rick 7 years ago. I was 22, fresh out of college, working my first job while living at home to save money. The rules changed overnight. What was mine became ours, but what was Rick's or Madison's remained untouchably theirs. My laptop disappeared first. Madison needed it for her online classes, Mom explained, as if my work presentations didn't matter. Then my emergency fund $3,000 I'd saved waiting tables through college vanished from our joint account. Rick needed it for truck repairs. Family helps family. When I protested, I got the speech about being selfish, about how Rick had opened his home to me, conveniently forgetting it was Mom's house before they married. The gaslighting became an art form. When I locked my bedroom door, I was creating barriers. When I opened my own bank account, I was breaking trust. When I moved out at 25, I was abandoning family. But the worst betrayal happened in small moments, Mom slowly rewriting history, pretending Rick had been there for milestones he'd actually ruined, forgetting promises she'd made before he entered our lives. Now, sitting in my Denver apartment at 2:30 a.m., I pulled out the manila folder I'd hidden behind old tax returns. Inside lay the document that changed everything Grandma Helen's will, handwritten in her careful script. Her lawyer had given me a copy years ago, knowing how families could get after death. The relevant section was highlighted in yellow, "To my granddaughter, Lauren Marie Pierce. I leave my wedding ring, purchased by Harold in 1952. This ring symbolized my independence when women had little. May it remind Lauren that no one, not husband, not family, not society, can take away what is rightfully hers." Below that, Grandma had added a note. "This ring appraised at $15,000 in 2018. Lauren, never let anyone make you feel guilty for claiming what's yours." I learned too late that keeping peace sometimes means losing yourself. I traced her signature, remembering her final days. Even drugged for pain, she'd insisted on putting the ring in my hands personally. "Not your mother," she'd whispered. "You. Only you." The ring wasn't just jewelry. Grandpa Harold had saved for 2 years to buy it, working double shifts at the railroad. Grandma wore it through the Depression's aftermath, through raising 4 kids, through watching her daughter, my mom, slowly trade her backbone for whatever man paid attention. That ring survived everything. It was supposed to be my reminder that Pierce women could be strong. My phone buzzed. The family group chat had exploded. Rick's message sat at the top. "Lauren threw a tantrum at dinner, embarrassed everyone. Karen and I are reconsidering her invitation to Madison's engagement party." Madison had added, "So dramatic. It's just a ring. Some people can't handle others' happiness." "Aunt Patricia, Lauren, apologize to your parents. Family is everything." I switched to my laptop and began documenting. Screenshots of every message, photos of the bruise already forming on my shoulder, purple spreading like spilled ink. The receipt showing I'd paid for tonight's dinner $347 for my own humiliation. My bank statements showing years of loans to Rick that were never repaid. Then I searched Colorado law on inheritance theft. Turns out, converting someone's inherited property for personal use constitutes theft, regardless of family relationship. Add assault. That upgraded everything. Rick had handed me a civil case and criminal charges on a silver platter, but I wouldn't rush. Rushing was what they expected emotional Lauren, hysterical Lauren, making scenes and burning bridges. No, this time would be different. I opened a new document and started typing my plan. Step 1, gather evidence. Step 2, establish patterns. Step 3, let them think they'd won. Step 4, choose the battlefield. Madison's engagement party. 6 weeks away. A public venue with influential guests. Rick's construction crew buddies. Mom's book club. Madison's sorority sisters. They wanted to play happy family. I'd give them a show they'd never forget. The ring wasn't just about $15,000 or even Grandma's memory anymore. It was about every boundary they'd crossed, every gaslight they'd lit, every piece of myself I'd surrendered for family harmony. This time, I wouldn't just reclaim my ring, I'd reclaim my dignity, and they'd hand me the weapons to do it. The morning after the restaurant incident, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Rick had taken his narrative on tour, messaging extended family, mutual friends, even some of my colleagues he'd met at company events. The story was consistent. I'd ruined a lovely dinner with my greed and jealousy. Mom called at 7:15. Lauren, honey, you need to apologize. Rick is talking about uninviting you from Madison's engagement party. He assaulted me, Mom. Oh, don't be dramatic. He barely touched you. You know how sensitive you are. I put her on speaker while photographing the bruise on my shoulder, now a deep purple with yellow edges. The security cameras will show differently. You wouldn't dare make this public. Think about Madison's reputation. Her future in-laws are very conservative. After hanging up, I drove to the ER at Lutheran Medical Center. The triage nurse took one look at my shoulder and fast-tracked me. Dr. Martinez, a woman about my age, documented everything meticulously. Domestic violence, she asked quietly, while the X-ray tech stepped out. Family assault. My stepfather. She nodded, making notes. The bruising pattern is consistent with a punch. Soft tissue trauma to the shoulder. Contusions on the hip from secondary impact. I'm required to ask, do you feel safe? I don't live with them. Good. Keep these records. You'll want them if you pursue charges. $387 later. I had medical documentation. X-rays showing no fractures but significant soft tissue damage, and an official report with photographs. My next stop was the law office of Sandra Kowalski, a family attorney recommended by my colleague. Her office overlooked the Flatirons, all clean lines and quiet authority. Inheritance theft is serious, she said, reviewing Grandma's will. Add assault with medical documentation. Your stepfather's looking at criminal charges and civil liability. But, she leaned back, Colorado's one-party consent state for recordings. If you can get him admitting to taking the ring, that's gold. What about a restraining order? We could file, but honestly, with one incident, even documented, it's 50-50, unless he escalates or you have a pattern of threats. That afternoon, Madison escalated for him. Her Instagram story showed her at a jewelry store, the ring prominent as she held champagne. The caption, upgrading family heirlooms for the modern bride. Some people stuck in the past could never understand. Blessed jar engagement season, jar vintage glam. The comments were revealing. Her friends gushing about the gorgeous family piece, asking about its history. Madison replied to one, it's been in the family for generations. My stepdad says I wear it better than anyone has in years. Screenshot, archived, downloaded, by evening. Rick had made his move. A text, not in the family group, but privately. Your mom's heartbroken. You've got 1 week to apologize publicly, or you're out of the engagement party and any family events. Your choice. I crafted my response carefully. I'll consider apologizing after we discuss the ring. Madison's engagement party would be the perfect time for me to publicly gift it to her properly. Make a real moment of it. The family would love that. Wouldn't they? Rick replied within minutes. Now you're thinking straight. We'll talk. The hook was set. He thought I was capitulating, ready to play my assigned role. Meanwhile, I contacted the restaurant, requesting preservation of security footage for insurance purposes related to property damage. The manager, remembering the scene, agreed immediately. I also reached out to a private investigator, Tom Brennan, a former cop who specialized in financial investigations. I need to know about recent large cash withdrawals or deposits in my stepfather's accounts, and whether anyone's been pawning jewelry in Boulder County. That's specific information, he said. I've got power of attorney for my mother from when she had surgery last year. Never revoked. That gives me legal access to joint account records. He whistled low. Smart. Give me 48 hours. That night, I sat in my apartment, planning the engagement party ambush. The Civic Pavilion had excellent AV equipment. I'd attended conferences there. Their event coordinator, Jessica, was always eager to accommodate special presentation requests. Mom texted at 11:45 p.m. "Rick says you're coming around? I knew you'd see sense. Family first, sweetheart." I typed back, "Family first," and hit send. They had no idea what kind of family reunion I was planning. Every move they made now just added evidence to my pile. The bruises would fade, but the documentation wouldn't. The ring might be on Madison's neck, but the truth was on my side. And in 6 weeks, at Madison's perfect engagement party, everyone would know exactly what kind of family this really was. Tom Brennan called me 3 days later while I was reviewing supply chain reports at work. "You sitting down? What did you find?" "Your stepfather's been busy. 4 cash withdrawals from the joint account over the past 2 months, each just under the reporting limit. Total of $38,000. But here's the interesting part. A pawn shop in Thornton has a record of a vintage diamond ring matching your grandmother's description. Pawned 2 weeks ago for $8,000 on a 90-day loan." My stomach dropped. He pawned it. Gets better. The name on the pawn slip, Richard Blake, but the signature. "That's your mother's handwriting. I've got comparison samples." He forged her signature, or she signed under pressure. Either way, the ring Madison's wearing based on the jeweler's receipt, I found cubic zirconia in a silver-plated setting. $300 at Precious Moments in Cherry Creek. I leaned back in my office chair, processing. They hadn't just stolen my inheritance, they'd hawk it for quick cash and replaced it with costume jewelry. The audacity was breathtaking. "There's more," Tom continued. "That new F-150 your stepfather's driving financed at 23% interest. He put down exactly $8,000 2 weeks ago. Cash." The pieces clicked. Rick had pawned my grandmother's ring to make a down payment on a truck, then stuck a fake on his daughter's neck. And everyone was playing along with the charade. "Send me everything," I said. "Every document, every receipt." That afternoon, I orchestrated my next move. I called Mom, making sure to sound defeated. "I've been thinking," I said, injecting a quaver into my voice. "You're right. I overreacted. Madison's engagement is more important than old jewelry." "Oh, sweetheart." Mom's relief was palpable. "I knew you'd come around. Rick will be so pleased." "Actually, I want to do something special. For Madison's engagement party, I'd like to make a presentation formally gifting the ring to her. You know, passing the torch from one generation to the next. We could do a video montage, pictures of Grandma wearing it, then Madison. Make it a real moment." "Lauren, that's beautiful. Madison will cry." "Oh, we should film it for her wedding video." "Exactly. I'll coordinate with the venue. They have those big LED screens, right. We could make it really special. I'll handle everything as my engagement gift to her." After hanging up, I contacted Jessica at the Civic Pavilion. "I need the main presentation system for May 15th, I said. "The Miller Blake engagement party, full audio-visual package." "That's already booked. Your family." "I'm doing a special presentation. A surprise for the bride-to-be. Can you make sure the system is set up for video playback, multiple sources?" "Of course, how wonderful. We love family moments." Next, I messaged Madison directly. "I want to apologize. You're right, the ring does look better on you. I'd like to make it official at your party, a proper handover ceremony." She replied with a string of heart emojis. "OMG, Lauren. That's so mature of you. I knew you'd get over it. Can't wait." Then I texted Rick, "Need to discuss the presentation for Madison's party. Coffee tomorrow." "Knew you'd see reason. Downtown grind, 2 p.m. I spent that evening creating my paper trail. Email to Mom, CCing Rick and Madison. "So excited to celebrate Madison's engagement and officially pass on Grandma's ring, I've arranged a special presentation at the venue." Rick replied all, "Family supporting family. This is what it's about." Screenshot. Saved. I also created a shared folder labeled Madison's engagement gift and invited them all to view it. Inside, I placed a single image, a professional photo of Grandma wearing the ring at her 40th anniversary party. The real ring, with its distinctive Art Deco setting and the tiny inscription on the band that only family knew about. Madison commented on the file, "Can't wait to wear this beauty on my wedding day." Perfect. She just admitted, in writing, that she was wearing Grandma's ring. The same ring currently sitting in a pawnshop vault. The trap was elegant in its simplicity. They thought I was surrendering, playing the dutiful daughter, sacrificing my inheritance for family harmony. They had no idea that every interaction, every message, every public declaration was another piece of evidence. Rick's truck payment was due in 10 days. The pawn loan would hit 30 days right before the engagement party, and I had a forensic jeweler ready to examine the fake ring in front of 200 guests. They wanted me to give Madison the ring publicly. I'd give them public, all right. Just not the kind they expected. The preparation required surgical precision. First, I filed a formal preservation request with the Rockridge Bistro's management, citing potential litigation. Their legal department agreed to maintain all security footage from that night for 90 days. The video quality was exceptional 4K resolution with clear audio from the directional microphones they used for training purposes. My friend Nora from North Spur proved invaluable. Her husband, Officer Derek Maloney with Boulder PD, couldn't officially help, but he could advise. Colorado's one-party consent, he reminded me over beer at their house. You can record any conversation you're part of, just announce it clearly. If they keep talking, that's implied consent. What about the assault? Statute of limitations is 18 months for misdemeanor assault. You've got time. But, Lauren, he leaned forward. Be careful. Cornered animals get dangerous. Nora had her own contribution. My cousin works events at the Civic Pavilion. I could get her to handle tech for the engagement party. Totally routine staff assignment. That would be perfect. I also hired Marcus Webb, a certified forensic gemologist from Denver. I need you available May 15th evening. You'll be examining a ring publicly, determining authenticity. Unusual request? You'll be compensated for the theater of it. $500 for the appearance. Another $500 if you can make the appraisal. Memorable. He smiled. I once appraised a fake Cartier at a country club auction. The gasp from the crowd was worth the price of admission. The meeting with Rick required careful staging. I arrived at Downtown Grind 10 minutes early, chose a corner table with good acoustics, and placed my phone on the table. When Rick walked in swagger intact, wearing his construction company polo-like armor, I hit record. "I'm recording this conversation," I said clearly as he sat down. The phone's recording indicator blinked red between us. Rick's eyes narrowed. "Why?" "For my own records. Making sure I remember our agreement correctly." I kept my voice pleasant. "You don't mind, do you?" He shrugged, that arrogant smile creeping back. "Got nothing to hide." Perfect. Implied consent achieved. So, I pulled out the folder with Grandma's will and photos. About the ring. What about it? You're giving it to Madison. Case closed. The actual ring, the one Grandma left me. I slid the appraisal across the table. Worth $15,000 as of 2018. Probably more now. Rick's jaw tightened. Madison's wearing it. Is she? I produced a screenshot from the jeweler's website. Because Precious Moments sells this exact style for $300. Cubic zirconia, silver-plated. The silence stretched. Rick's fingers drummed the table. "Look," he finally said, leaning back. "Times are tight. I needed liquid cash for the truck down payment. It's a 90-day loan. I'll get it back." My heart raced, but I kept my expression neutral. "You pawned my grandmother's ring. It's just sitting there doing nothing. Madison needed something for the photos. The fake looks identical." "So you stole my inheritance, pawned it, and gave your daughter costume jewelry. Borrowed." His voice hardened. "I borrowed it. And what's the difference? Madison can't tell. Your mom can't tell. Ring's a ring. The difference is $15,000 and a felony charge for inheritance theft." Rick leaned forward, his voice dropping. You threatening me? I'm stating facts. That ring was legally mine. You took it without permission. That's theft. Prove it. I pulled out Madison's Instagram screenshots, her comments on the shared folder, the family messages. Your daughter's been publicly claiming to wear my grandmother's ring. You've confirmed it in writing. But the real ring is in a pawn shop in Thornton under your name. Rick's face went red. You little. I'm offering you a choice. I interrupted. Get the ring back before the engagement party. Give it to me publicly. Admit the mix-up. Or I present all of this, the assault, the theft, the fraud to everyone at the party, and then to the police. You wouldn't dare. You'd humiliate your mother. Mom chose her side when she let you steal from me. Rick stood abruptly, the chair scraping. You're going to regret this. Is that a threat on recording? He stormed out without answering. I saved the audio file in 3 locations, emailed it to my lawyer, and uploaded it to a cloud server. That evening, Mom called, crying. How could you ambush Rick like that? How could you let him pawn my ring? It's temporary. He promised to get it back. With what money? Mom, his maxed credit cards, the second mortgage you co-signed. Her silence was answer enough. The countdown to the engagement party had begun. 3 weeks to showtime. Rick would either scramble to retrieve the ring or call my bluff. Either way, May 15th would be a night Boulder society wouldn't forget. The coffee meeting had lit a fuse. Rick spent the next 2 weeks scrambling, and I documented every move through Tom's surveillance and my own strategic conversations. First came the desperate attempts to raise cash. Rick approached 3 different payday lenders, all rejecting him due to his debt-to-income ratio. He tried selling tools from his construction job on Craigslist. He even asked his foreman for a salary advance, claiming a family medical emergency. Mom called me 8 days before the party. Her voice strained. Lauren, please. Rick's trying to make things right. Can't you just let this go? Has he gotten the ring back? He's working on it. The pawn shop wants $11,000 now with interest and fees. That's not my problem. He might lose his job. He's been distracted, making mistakes. His boss already warned him twice. I felt a twinge of sympathy for Mom, but it died quickly. Maybe he should have thought about that before stealing from me. Meanwhile, Madison had gone into full bridezilla mode. Her Instagram documented every party detail: the champagne fountain, the live band, the surprise presentation from my sister that she kept teasing. She'd invited everyone, her sorority alumni chapter, her fiancé's family from Vail, Rick's construction crew, Mom's book club, even local social media influencers. 3 days before the party, I met with Marcus Webb one final time, showing him detailed photos of both rings, the real one from Grandma's estate documentation and the fake from Madison's social media. The differences are obvious to a trained eye, he said, studying the images. The real stone has natural inclusions visible at 10x magnification. The CZ will be flawless. The silver plating versus white gold. Different density. Different wear patterns. I can demonstrate this with some basic tests. How theatrical can you make it? I once exposed a counterfeit at an estate sale with nothing but a jeweler's loupe and a glass of water. The crowd was riveted. Perfect. I also confirmed with Sandra, my lawyer. She'd prepared 2 documents, a civil demand letter for the ring's return plus damages, and a criminal complaint draft for theft and assault. File these when, she asked. Depends on how the party goes. Have them ready. The day before the engagement party, Rick made one last attempt. He showed up at my office building at 5:45 p.m., catching me in the parking garage. We need to talk. He blocked my car door. Move, or I call security. I'll get the ring next week. My buddy's lending me the money. The party's tomorrow. So postpone your little presentation. No. His face contorted. You're really going to destroy your family over a piece of jewelry. You destroyed this family when you put your hands on me. The ring's just evidence. I barely touched you. I pulled out my phone, showing him the photos from the ER. The medical report says different. So does the restaurant footage. You vindictive little... He raised his hand. Rick. I held up my phone. Recording. Parking garage has cameras. You're already facing one assault charge. Want to make it two. He dropped his hand, stepping back. You're going to regret this. Madison's day will be ruined. Madison's wearing a $300 fake while pretending it's a family heirloom. She's ruined her own day. He stormed off, but not before kicking my car's bumper, leaving a visible dent. I photographed that too, adding it to my evidence file. That night, I created the presentation. The restaurant footage, crystal clear, showing Rick grabbing me, hitting me, shoving me into the table. The audio from our coffee meeting, subtitled for clarity. The pawn shop records. The jeweler's receipt for the fake. Madison's social media posts claiming to wear the family heirloom. The medical reports. Grandma's will. I titled it The Truth About Family. My phone buzzed at 11:30 p. A text from an unknown number, but I recognized Rick's burner phone pattern. Last chance. Call this off or you'll lose more than a ring. I screenshotted it, adding it to the file labeled Threats. Tomorrow, 200 guests would gather to celebrate Madison's engagement. They expected champagne toasts and happy families. They'd get a show. All right, just not the fairy tale they anticipated. I set 3 alarms for the morning and laid out my outfit, a black dress Grandma had bought me for my college graduation. She'd said it made me look like a woman who meant business. Tomorrow, I'd prove her right. The Civic Pavilion glittered with fairy lights and white roses. Madison had outdone herself, or rather, Mom's credit cards had. Ice sculptures flanked the entrance. A string quartet played near the champagne fountain, and 200 guests mingled in cocktail attire. Boulder's social elite mixed with Rick's construction crew, an awkward blend of pearls and steel-toed boots dressed up for the occasion. I arrived at 7:15 p.m. My black dress a stark contrast to the pastel palette Madison had mandated. The engagement couple held court near the main stage. Madison's fake ring catching the light as she gestured animatedly. Her fiancé, Connor, stood beside her in his Brooks Brothers suit, blissfully unaware his future wife was wearing costume jewelry. Lauren. Mom intercepted me, her smile tight. You look formal. It's a formal occasion. Rick's nervous about your presentation. She lowered her voice. Please, don't do anything to embarrass us. I promise everyone will remember tonight. Nora's cousin, Amy, caught my eye from the tech booth, giving me a subtle thumbs up. Everything was loaded and ready. Marcus Webb stood near the bar, looking like any other guest nursing a whiskey. At 8:30 p.m., the MC Madison's sorority sister tapped the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special presentation from the bride-to-be's sister, my cue. I walked to the stage, feeling 200 pairs of eyes on me. Rick's face had gone pale. Madison beamed, anticipating her moment of glory. Good evening, everyone. My voice carried clearly through the pavilion's sound system. Family is about trust. It's about honor. And tonight, I want to share a story about both. The lights dimmed. The LED screens flickered to life. This is my grandmother, Helen Pierce. Her portrait filled the screens, elegant, dignified, wearing the real ring. She left me this ring in her will. The document appeared, highlighted sections clearly visible. She wanted me to have it as a symbol of independence. Madison's smile began to fade. 2 weeks ago, at my birthday dinner, I discovered the ring on someone else. The restaurant footage began playing. The entire room watched Rick grab me, hit me, shove me into the table. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Connor stepped away from Madison, his face shocked. But that's not the whole story. The audio from the coffee shop filled the pavilion. Rick's voice, clear as day. I needed liquid cash for the truck down payment. It's a 90-day loan. Madison needed something for the photos. The fake looks identical. Madison's hand flew to her neck, covering the ring. This isn't Mr. Webb. I called out. Marcus stepped forward with his equipment. Would you please examine the ring Madison is wearing? No. Rick stormed toward the stage. Derek Maloney and another off-duty officer guests, but Prepared intercepted him. This is defamation, I'll sue. Marcus had reached Madison, who stood frozen. May I? He held up his jeweler's loop. Connor, finding his voice, said, Madison, just let him look. The examination took 30 seconds. Marcus announced to the silent room, cubic zirconia in a silver-plated setting, retail value approximately $300. This is definitively not the Pierce family heirloom. Madison burst into tears. Daddy said it was real. He said it was just being cleaned. The pawnshop receipt appeared on screen, larger than life. Rick's signature, $8,000. The date 2 days before he'd bought his truck. The real ring, I continued, my voice steady despite my racing heart, is sitting in Thornton Pawn in gold. Connor looked between Madison and the screen. You knew, he asked her quietly. You knew it was fake. I didn't. I swear I thought Mom had collapsed into a chair, her face in her hands. Rick's construction crew muttered among themselves, shooting him disgusted looks. His foreman, Jim Wallace, shook his head and walked out. Sandra stepped forward with the documents. Mr. Blake, this is a formal demand for the return of the ring and compensation for assault. You have 72 hours before criminal charges are filed. But the coup de grace was yet to come. The screens changed one more time, showing the pawnshop's owner, Mr. Chen, in a recorded statement from that afternoon. Mr. Blake's loan expired yesterday. As per Colorado law, the ring has been processed for sale. It sold this morning to a private collector. The ring was gone. Madison's wail echoed through the pavilion. Connor walked away from her, his family following. The social media influencers had their phones out, live streaming the chaos. Rick's face had turned purple, but with the officers present, he couldn't move. I stepped down from the stage and walked directly to Mom. The ring is gone because of him. Grandma's legacy, destroyed, all for a truck payment. I placed the ER photos on the table in front of her. And this is what he did when I asked about it. The pavilion erupted. Connor's mother loudly announced they were reconsidering the engagement given this family's character. Madison sobbed harder, mascara streaming down her face as her bridesmaids awkwardly comforted her. The social media influencers were having a field day. I heard one saying this was better than the Fire Festival documentary. But the final blow came from an unexpected source. Jim Wallace, Rick's foreman, walked back in and straight up to Rick. You're done at Front Range. I don't employ thieves who assault women. He looked at the officers. I'll be filing a report about the missing tools from our job sites. Guess we know where they went now. Rick lunged at me then, but Derek and his partner were ready. They restrained him as he screamed. You destroyed everything, you vindictive little... Sir, you need to calm down, Derek said formally. We're now witnessing assault attempt number 2. Would you like to add to your charges? The pawnshop owner's full statement continued playing. Mr. Chen's voice filled the room. The gentleman who purchased the ring was very specific. He said it belonged in his family. He paid $22,000 cash. Tom Brennan stepped forward from the crowd, pulling out an envelope. Miss Pierce, I was instructed to give you this after the presentation. Inside was a note in familiar handwriting. My Uncle Robert, Grandma's youngest son who lived in California. Lauren, I heard about Rick's scheme through the grapevine. The ring is safe. It's yours. As Mom wanted. Come to California next week. We'll handle the transfer properly, with lawyers. Some things shouldn't be pawned for truck payments. Uncle Rob. I nearly collapsed with relief. Uncle Robert, the successful tech entrepreneur who'd been estranged from Mom since she married Rick, had been watching out for me. You set this whole thing up, Rick shouted, still restrained. This was entrapment. Sandra, my lawyer, smiled coldly. No, Mr. Blake, this was consequence. The police arrived officially this time, called by the venue for the disturbance. Derek briefed them, showing the assault footage, the medical records, the threats. Rick was escorted out in handcuffs as Madison wailed and Mom sat in shocked silence. Connor made his way to Madison one last time. "The engagement is off." He pulled the ring from his pocket, the real engagement ring he'd bought. "I'll be returning this. I can't marry someone who'd participate in this." "But I didn't know," Madison cried. Connor showed her the Instagram posts on his phone. "You bragged about wearing stolen property. You knew it was Lauren's inheritance. You just didn't care." The party emptied quickly after that. Rick's construction crew left muttering about finding new jobs before the company went under. Madison's sorority sisters made excuses and fled. The social media posts were already going viral. "Boulder engagement party turns into crime scene" would be trending by morning. Mom finally looked at me, tears streaming. "How could you do this to us?" "I didn't do anything, Mom. I just showed everyone the truth. Rick stole from me, assaulted me, and you enabled it. Madison flaunted stolen property. I just refused to be silent anymore." "Where will we go? Rick's going to jail. I co-signed his debts. The house." "Maybe you should have thought about that before choosing him over your daughter." I left her there and walked out into the cool Colorado night. My phone was buzzing with messages support from colleagues who'd seen the live streams. Uncle Robert confirming my flight to California. Even a text from Connor apologizing for his ex-fiance's behavior. 3 days later, Rick was formally charged with assault and theft. The viral videos had made him unemployable in Boulder. Madison dropped out of her graduate program, too humiliated to show her face on campus. Mom filed for divorce when she learned Rick had also pawned her jewelry and maxed out 3 credit cards in her name. I flew to San Francisco and met Uncle Robert at his lawyer's office. He handed me the ring. Grandma's real ring, with the tiny inscription inside that read, "Independence 1952. "She'd be proud," he said. "You stood up to them." "I just wanted what was mine." "No, you wanted respect. The ring was just the symbol." He was right. As I slipped the ring onto my finger for the first time, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years around my family peace. I'd drawn my boundaries in permanent ink, defended them with truth, and let the consequences fall where they deserved. Rick pleaded guilty to avoid trial, getting 18 months supervised probation and mandatory anger management. Madison never did get married. Connor told everyone about the fake ring incident. Mom moved in with her sister in Denver, finally free of Rick but bitter about it. And me, I wear Grandma's ring every day, a reminder that some things are worth fighting for. Not the money, not even the ring itself, but the right to stand up and say, "This is mine. You cannot take it, and I will not be silent." The revolution Grandma wanted for me didn't come through marriage or tradition. It came through refusing to let anyone family or otherwise steal what was rightfully mine. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I'm curious, where are you tuning in from? Drop a comment below and let me know what country or state you're listening from so we can connect. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more stories like this, and please share your thoughts. Have you ever had to stand up to family members who crossed the line? I'd love to hear your experiences.